What is going on, people? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I'm thirsty for these pips. Uh, welcome back. Welcome back. Had a little bit of a interesting evening last night, but as some of you might have seen and some of you've reached out to me, I appreciate it. But I'm not missing the stream. I'm not missing this market, even if I get a couple hours of sleep. This is what I love to do, so I'm going to keep doing it until I can't do it no more. But today, we can do it. Today's my Friday, so we're going to make sure that we get it done the right way. So, as always, we're going to start off real quick with a little bit of legal jargon, get that knocked out, and then we're going to get right into these charts and see if we can't have a great trading day like we always do. And the quick disclaimer, trading any financial market requires a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. You should only trade with money you can afford to lose. Proper risk management is essential in trading all financial markets. If you do not have an understanding of proper risk management, it would be best to educate yourself further before beginning to trade. The content that I provide is for general information purposes only and entertainment. It should not be interpreted as advice, investment, financial, or otherwise, because I am not a financial advisor. However, if you do choose to follow along with any of my trade positions, then you do so at your own risk. Thank you, love. Appreciate it. So, as always, get that knocked out real quick. And welcome back. Welcome back, Pockets. Good morning, boss. You didn't oversleep today? How you feeling? How you making out? How's your day going so far? All right, so let's get into the charts. As we see, kind of shook out of this consolidation yesterday, and we're starting to get a little bit of momentum to the downside, kind of breakout so far on GU, but we do have just a little bit of divergence forming, but you know, it's still early, so I'm not going to let that be a thing because this thing could still just push all the way down, and so I'm just going to take it for what it is right now. AU still looking like maybe it's kind of holding this. Now, of course, this is a really big range, so of course it might just hold it, but again, this is what we see, so we draw it as we see it. On a daily, again, just kind of crack down, and now you're in this consolidation range. You're good. You're watching EA. All right, we'll jump on EA next. So as you can see, we kind of had this ascending channel, cracked out of the channel, and now it's kind of sideways. So let's see if it can find support and push up, or if it's actually just going to fall off, and maybe we have a change of bias. 4 hour, maybe we get ourselves like a nice bearish engulfing pattern that kind of cracks us out of this zone, and maybe we come back down here and test the lows. We'll keep an eye on it and see how everything's going. EA, as Pockets is watching on a daily, we've been saying how we wanted to try and see it come down to this reset of the 800. We're kind of in like a selling sentiment, but again, kind of drove up out of this range, and now we're just consolidating. So maybe we potentially get more momentum to the upside. Starting to get like a little bit of a two candle. We'll see if it engulfs and maybe clears out, and maybe we actually go into an uptrend. Not really seeing too clear of structure yet, because we see we had a high back here. You had a failure of the high, came back down. Came back down. Now you're in this kind of range. Are we going to try and retest these highs, or is it going to fall off? We're going to see how that looks. Right now, I'm a little bit uncertain, still kind of chopping. So we need a breakout to one direction, and then we can take the correction after we get a confirmation of a breakout. EU, we have a lot of boxes drawn, but you can see we're kind of coming back into this area on the daily. We're in an uptrend, and we had been really trying to target these highs, and I still think that's a possibility, but now we're starting to kind of crack out of that. So maybe we're getting further correction. Maybe we're testing this level back here from the beginning of the year, because now we're kind of coming into that range. And I bet you if we extend this box that I have drawn, yeah, see. So maybe this is what we're testing on a daily. Let's look at the 4 hour. 4 hour. Let's get rid of this one just for the time being, and let's focus on this bottom structure that we're at. To me, this looks somewhat like the area that we could be finding some support. Now, it does look like potentially we're starting to make structure because you had a high. Now you're starting to get like a break, consolidation break, but a push back up, but it made a lower high here. So let's see what happens in this area. I don't want to overcommit to a sell because overall we're still in an uptrend, but it does seem like maybe we're starting to get um, some lower, some downtrend structure being formed. As you get lower and lower on a time frame, you're going to see it more and more, obviously, because there's more candles and the correction looks bigger on the lower time frames. But to me, it's still a little choppy and it's still kind of respecting this area, so I'm not completely committing to the sell yet. We're going to be patient and see if we can get a breakout and then, correction. GJ definitely looks like it broke out. We were, if I'm not mistaken, we were liking it to the downside yesterday, but we weren't exactly sure. But as you can see, down here 1030 came back up. So what did I say? I said I want to see a break and then a retest before potential continuation, and that looks like what we got. It looks like it did just exactly that. It kind of came, made this low before our New York session came up, made a higher low, came down, made a lower low, higher low, and then just kind of cracked out. Maybe news drove it. Had a nice little candle here. Could have been an entry, but um, we're still waiting. If this thing is going to come lower, then we're going to try and find ourselves an entry. Let's go in today, CD. What's going on? What's going on? How are you? We are doing good. Just getting ourselves situated and trying to assess where we're at in the market. How are you making out? How's your trade day going? And then GU looks like you're in the downtrend. With this was the COVID, where the market kind of just fell off. Comes up and now you've been correcting. You did make a higher high here, and now you're coming back. Is it going to continue that overall downtrend? Um, don't know. Not sure. You're seeing you're getting a little bit of rejection here, but we're still, you still seems like you're kind of coming off of this area. So I'm not exactly sure yet. Um, you made a high, came down, made a lower low than this, made a lower high, and now it looks like you're trying to make an even lower low. So if that's the case, then we're going to look for an area of consolidation and potential. If we see bearish breakout patterns, then maybe we take it. It kind of broke out here. I'm not in love with this, but you can see it comes down. Here it goes. So we're just going to take it slow. It does look on like the 15-minute or so like it's trying to break out. But it's still, look, if you look, we're still here at this bottom, this low. So you have to clear this low. Otherwise, it's going to try and use it as like a support right here. Something like this. So that's where we're at. You're kind of just retesting this area. Selling sentiment, you would believe, as everything's really kind of falling off. But again, the divergence, so you're basically just coming back to retest the low on structure. So we'll wait and see. Nothing's completely clear to me yet. Um, just take it light. Oh, I got some spam comments. I don't know how to get rid of them. Want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, viewers? Wow, sounds outstanding. Tell me more. Anyway, so that's kind of the quick analysis. Again, it's only 20 to 9 in the morning, East Coast here. We're just going to take it light. As always, you know how I like to trade. By now, you guys like to see the market kind of wake up and stock market wake up and go from there. Nothing's really extremely uh, clear. But who knows, man? Uh, see if we can't find some action today. 7 a.m. you had that pound news. That could have been what moved this market more to the downside. And this is 7:45, so not even. But I guess maybe that could have been a catalyst. Yeah, this pin right here maybe. But we were good with this yesterday. I think it was just a little uncertain, and then this is more like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where you kind of come up and get this consolidation. And if you're short bias, like we were trying to see it come lower yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, then like I tell you guys, the best idea is, break, retest, and in this area, try and find yourself a valid reason to get short. If you went back, see if you see any breakout patterns. Not really. Maybe you see it like this, you know, corrective ascending channel, and then it kind of just like broke out. So nothing really clean that you would, want to hang your hat on. Um, Sometimes it's like that. So it's no worries. I feel all right, man. So for anyone who saw my Insta, I'll just give you like a real quick recap. So you guys know that I've been getting back to the restaurant, and they make you wear the masks, and the mask that they gave us is just like it's a really thick mask. And I do have pre-existing heart conditions, stuff like that. Like nothing major. I just had all kinds of work done right before I got put on the house arrest, the quarantine, or whatever you want to call it. I had a whole bunch of tests done, and everything was cool. They're like, yeah, you have this condition, but you're all right. Just don't kill yourself. So I went back to work, and we were busy last night. We were shorthanded, and I was running around. It was my third day in a row. I worked Monday a lot. I worked Tuesday long hours. I worked yesterday, and I was having a really hard time breathing. I kept pulling the mask off and trying to catch air, but there was a lot of work to do, running food and clearing tables. So I throw the mask back on, run, and it just started getting to a point where I was really having some trouble breathing. And my cardiologist happened to be at my restaurant having dinner, and I went outside, and I called my fiance, and I told her I was having some trouble breathing. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm really having trouble breathing. And these were concerns that we had before I went back to work. And she started getting a little bit upset, and it started getting me upset. And one of my coworkers saw me go outside, and they told my manager, and everyone had saw that I was struggling, and they know me to be a bull in that restaurant. I don't quit. I work like 14, 15 hours. Like I'm an animal in there. And I've been there almost 9 years, so they know my work ethic is solid. And if something's wrong, then they know it's probably serious. So my manager saw me a little bit upset on the phone with my fiance, went and grabbed my cardiologist because they know my doc was there, and he came out and checked me out and was like, "Look, you seem to have normal heartbeat, and you seem to be all right. Your lungs sound okay, but as your cardiologist, I recommend that you go to the ER, get some blood work and this and that." And I'm like, "Nah, thanks, but no thanks. I ain't going, bro." And I'm just refusing. And he kind of forced my hand. My managers strongly recommended it, so I went to the ER, did some blood work, did some X-rays and stuff like that. They looked me over, and they're like, "You're okay, man. It's just with your pre-existing condition and everything going on, we want to do our due diligence and check you out." So I was good to go. Everything came back negative. Obviously, I wasn't having a heart attack. I knew I wasn't. I was just really out of breath. And then they sent me on my way at like almost 3 in the morning. So that's why I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they were going to keep me. I didn't know what it was, but that's it. Long story short, I'm good. I'm here. Just, just a funny world we live in. And that's why I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do this. So who knows? They gave me a doctor's note. I'm out for a little while. So maybe this is, a blessing in disguise. I try and take everything as a positive. I never try and, you know, look at anything as a negative. So maybe this is the catalyst I need, and maybe I'll get out of this restaurant once and for all. So that is my story, and I appreciate everyone who reached out to me. I definitely had a lot of people reaching out, so it feels good to know that people are, checking up on me. So thank you. But enough about me. Let's get back to this market. So we see GJ kind of grabbing some more momentum to the downside. As you can see, it looks like it, if we get to the low time frame, looks like you definitely kind of broke out, broke up to the high side, couldn't break the highs back here, struggled at it, kind of chopped its way lower, high, lower high, lower high, consolidation engulfing right here at 746. You guys see it now as I keep repeating it. You're already seeing it before I even mark it. I know you are. There you go. breaks into the zone. This could also be your igniting candle because you have this kind of breaks down here, comes up, strong engulfing of just this little duration, consolidates, like we always say, down, consolidate, and then potential more. Here's another breakout candle for you. Stop at the top of the candle or potentially above the zone if you want to be a little safer. Gets down, goes into a descending channel, but it's not a corrective channel. Drops. Here's your ascending channel. And now it's continuing. Something like that. Maybe like this. Comes down, corrective channel, breaks out, consolidates sideways, engulfing. Now we're getting a little bit of divergence, if you will, as you can see right here. A little bit of divergence. So we'll see. Doesn't mean that it's going up. It's just what I say. So if you're up and you were awake and you were looking for shorts on GJ, you had one right here at 746 at the candle close. Could have got yourself in. If you're a 1 minute trader, take the breakout. Even if you wanted to be conservative, take a 15 pip stop. You smoked it. Not bad. Not bad for 30 minutes or so. 15 minutes. N95 disposable masks are dangerous. They aren't meant to be used when running around. Yeah, it wasn't even like an N95. It was just something that like my restaurant gave me. It was like, I shit you not, man. It was like underwear. Shit was like kind of vinyl. It was like, I don't, like, or that like, it was heavy. It's not like breathable. And I was opening wine for my doc, and he was like, hey, nice to see you back at work. Happy for you guys out here to support. Awesome, dude. Really nice dude. And he was like, how you feeling? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right, but I can't breathe with this mask on. And I had told him before I even had the issues, and he looked at me and he goes, why are you wearing that mask, man? He's like, that's not what you should be wearing. And he held up his doctor mask. Like, you gotta be wearing one of these. He's like, I got a whole stack. I'll bring them to you. And I was like, well, I have them at home. This is just what the restaurant provided me, so I was wearing it because it matched our uniform or whatever. And he was like, nah, man. He's like, don't wear that. Shit, right? Pockets, no worries, man. It's all good if you missed it. No worries. The more we see it, the more you won't miss it. That's the whole plan. But I mean, if you're also looking at, you're not necessarily you're short biased on it, of course, but you do have significant levels down here with this low here, so perhaps you don't know that it's going to break through that. So, cause for concern, but definitely seemed like, oh, well, that pushed to it. So in that instance, maybe that was your target down here at these lows. So I don't know. 745. This is the 745 candle closes today. So yeah, you would have caught that candle. Like an E, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I definitely think we could catch something today. I'm looking for it. Trust me, I'm on the hunt. I don't want to be timid today. I'm looking to try and bang something and end my week strong, but I'm not going to get I don't want to get myself into anything and be wrong. I want to make sure it's right, but if it's right, I'm going to get all over that bad boy. Like an EU, tell me more about it. What do you like about it? Walk me through it. You like it down to the downside, or are you looking at this area of sensitivity and saying bounce? The hours got a pretty good shot at moving. If you're looking at this as like kind of into the zone, consolidate, and then this kind of engulfs, maybe that hour candle was a catalyst. But with all these hits to this area, especially, like this, I might be a little bit iffy about seeing it come lower. But I don't want to deny the trend, obviously. Divergence at the high, breaks down, makes a low, comes back up, makes a lower high. Now you're kind of chopping. So maybe you do get more momentum. Yeah, short bias. Yeah, I understand. Down on this week. All good. All good, man. I understand. A little early. Yeah, direction is something that we can typically be correct at, um, but timing, intraday is hard. You got to make sure that you're right. But that's why we always try and look for these breakouts, look for these, engulfing signals, and make sure that you got a clear trend. If you don't have a clear trend, it definitely makes it a little bit tougher. And this week has definitely been a little bit choppy. It's been, as you can see, you know, excuse me, a lot more of like a reset, a lot more consolidation. Bullish pin head on the 1 hour scares me a little. Yeah, because I think that it's just not, I don't know that it's completely broke out yet. Like if you're looking, let's look, if you're looking at the higher time frame, so on the 15-minute, it looks like um, structure. But if you look here and you were looking at this like a 15-minute chart, if you will, you would just say, yeah, it's consolidating. I want to see a breakout. But as it's from back in the beginning of the month here on the 3rd, you broke into the zone, you corrected the zone with this descending channel right here, like this. I'll blow it up in 1 second so you guys can see. So all time frames the same, right? It's fractal, so we always look at everything as it's the same. So you're in an uptrend, you break up and clear the level, you correct the level, and then you break up to it again, pushes and makes a high, corrects itself with a little bit of consolidation, pulls down, uses the previous level, not always exact because the market's not always exact, but looks to find support in and around this area like this, with the pins. So here it is, pins, pins, clears the zone, comes down, consolidates, comes back, finds support, 2 candle engulfing pattern that potentially is the catalyst for more momentum to the upside. And now you're doing the same thing. It makes a high, comes back down, tries to bounce and it can't, consolidates, engulfing candle right here, could be the catalyst to drive it up, can't get back and retest the highs, and is starting to fall off, which is why potentially maybe it is starting to create a downtrend. But again, we're at this level here where we've seen it bounce 1, 2, 3-ish, 4-ish, 5. It keeps trying to drive off it, so it's indecisive right now. So we really want to wait for a strong break and retest with a clear structure, and I don't quite know that I have clear structure yet, especially here. Clear structure, you see these EMAs start to like expand and fan out, like let's look back, see if we can't. So here you go. Here's a perfect example. This is how you know you're starting to create structure. Oh, sorry, I'm moving this fast. So here you go. This even made a higher high here, but it came down, consolidated, dropped lower, consolidated, dropped lower. So now you're seeing it's fallen off, makes a steep fall, consolidates, and as it starts to rise and create structure, these EMAs start to fan out. They go from tight consolidation and reset to a fan out, and that's when you know. So now it comes down, holds the structure, pushes up, makes a new high, comes down. So you're like, okay, as it comes down here, I'm not selling it on the 527 in here. I'm looking for longs to try and get back up to this high. And that's exactly where it gets. 1, 2, fails, makes a, comes down, makes a lower high off of the structure, and then keeps going because you're in an uptrend. Stay with the trend. And that's where you want to get on the hour then at that point, the 4 hour, and really start to read your long-term bias and stay with that bias. And this ran for 8 days in an uptrend. Just maybe even more from the 27th. Here's the 26th. If we were, if we were seeing the divergence that you can see from down here on the TDI and here, and it's chopping, and then it ignites, and we always say we don't take this first one because it could just hold and then come back down. You see when it comes up, creates another structure and engulfs. You could take this on the daily, just like you take it on any other time frame. Stop at the bottom, because if it is going to correct up, it's not coming back. And if you're a reversal trader, here it is, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 1st, 2nd, how many days? And now you're just chopping. So momentum is still to the upside, in my opinion. It hasn't changed its direction yet. I'm just staying with the momentum. Hey, George, Jorge, how are you? Good morning. Nice to see you again. Thank you for being in here, bro. How's your day going? So definitely could see some correcting on EU. Let's take a look at this dollar index, because to me this dollar index maybe is breaking out to the upside. So let's try and find more causes for um, confirmation bias, you know. But again, you're just here trying to retest these highs, and when you just did hit this high, you wicked off of it. Doesn't mean anything. The wick doesn't mean, oh, sell it, you know, it's going away. Just says, hey, there's pressure here. So now it comes down and it's finding itself support and trying to drive back up to create a new high. So as this looks to try and break out to the upside, then we're going to find ourselves EUs and GUs and AUs potentially trying to drive to the downside. But they're all at a place of either support or resistance, and they haven't cleared the zone yet. I'd much rather see the breakdown of this zone, come back and find resistance at this zone, and then give me a bearish igniting candle, engulfing candle pattern that I recognize as momentum. And that's where I'd like to take it. I don't want to try and grab a breakout and then it's a failed breakout and then it pulls back and then I lose. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we can get. I love this pair, and as you can see, it's definitely this was a really nice 15-minute candle here. It's definitely under the zone, creating structure. We like how, and again, break and retest. Breaks down. If you use EMAs, breaks out of the EMA. Yeah, this thing's moving. Comes back up in here, potentially an igniting candle. Now that would have stopped you out, so that's an L, and that happens. We take losses. But finding a lot of strength right now to the downside. Clean. This is pretty clean. And then if you want to draw it even like this, I messed up my top. Hold on. If you wanted to draw it like this, kind of like a downtrend, you know, you could say something like that. You could pull it back even further. You could say something like this if you're a trend line trader, you know, holding structure, holding structure, holding structure. How many times can you hold structure? You know, and then here, igniting candle clears the whole range here, clears this low a day, makes a new low a day, gives you about 15 minutes or so consolidation. So this is definitely finding momentum to the downside. I wonder if GU follows suit. Looks like it's trying to. I called a failed breakout yesterday, about an hour or so, or full breakout happened. Yeah, yesterday was a tough day, man. It's all good. It's definitely a tough day yesterday. I wasn't sure. This was the only one that I think, and I think we were trying to see EA come. What we were trying to, yeah, see, look, we still have our channel drawn. We were trying to see it break the channel, and it did break the channel. And as soon as it broke the channel, it came right back into the channel. Just wasn't ready. So we were definitely eyeballing EA yesterday, and I think if I'm trying to remember now, I think we are also eyeing GJ to break this structure. And then here it's 10:30, and I didn't want to take that one. I wanted to take something like this. So I won't lie, I was sitting in the hospital bed and I had my MetaTrader open on my phone and I was like, maybe I'll trade, but I was like, nah, 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 we're not doing that. But you know, I can't lie and say I wasn't looking. 9 o'clock hour. Let's look at the 4 hour candle. See what we came up with here. So here we go on AU. Pretty, pretty probable. Let me clear this box. So we see what the box is. This is a pretty strong igniting candle. Body, not wicks, body, saying like boom. Like these are like kind of failure. This is like momentum potentially. You're kind of falling into what we would consider like a selling sentiment by the market. On the hour, it's just kind of beat. Maybe a pull. It's hitting these lows. Maybe a little pullback. Maybe. Maybe it just goes. I'm not sure. 30-minute. Maybe a full correction. If it is falling, you're sucking down below. This is pulling. So everything's kind of pulling to the downside. 4 hour, pretty good looking candle. If you're a swing, give yourself like a 45 pip stop potentially. See if you can't get it to clear potentially. If you like that type of if you like that type of trade, again, you do have some lows down here where there's been rejection, but you do know that if it's going to indeed come lower, where does it have to go? It has to come and test this area. So you know you're at least going to see it down to like 45, potentially 36, so maybe like another 10 to 20 pips. That's why I'd rather see it clear this level and then I'll take the correction, which I'll still get an entry around that level. So I don't want to take that just yet. 4 hour on EA. Engulfing, not the greatest. Not the greatest engulfing. Um, I'd like to see it clear more of this zone because you still have all these pins and selling pressure in here. So you could come up and retest levels, like highs. First, you would retest this high a day, um, at the Asia high basically, which is like, you know, 24-ish pips away, potentially up here to 164.17 area, give or take. Um, so potentially you might see it come and try and test that. But this the AUD pairs aren't really looking great to me. EU on a 4 hour, you're kind of getting a nice momentum. But again, you do have some rejection in this area. Pins into the zone, pins on top of the zone. Sensitive area, uncertain. You'd like to see it probably clear it, take the correction for more continuation if it is indeed going to come down. That's kind of how I would see it. On the hour, you can see you had this candle, kind of feels like the igniting momentum candle, and you're getting pushed into the zone, and that's where you feel like you would like to see it come and test, because if it has to come lower, it has to test the zone and then potentially clear the zone. 30-minute chart. Yeah, again, same. And it's ironic that you're kind of 800 here. If you're an EMA trader, you know that that can be a short-term support. And I don't look at it and be like, oh, it has to stop here. But when you start to see rejection in that area and you have that EMA, then maybe it does kind of align. Like again, you're just trying to find confirmation to tell you the truth of what's going on in the market. And right now, it's you're still diverging here from days ago, and you're kind of just holding structure low. GJ looks to seems to have the momentum. Clearly came down, consolidated, big break. To me, excuse me, I'll keep punching the mic. I have to use this hand, but I'm left-handed. So this is still falling. You see how everything's like kind of falling down. This market sentiment, this trend line, this thing, they're all just kind of falling with each other. So that to me kind of lends to momentum. Getting a little bit oversold on the 1 hour, but that's neither here nor there. A little bit oversold. So again, came down. So I would want to see a correction somewhere in this area, you know, but it might not. It might just fall off. You might have to look for like a 5 minute or a 1 minute correction potentially. You are a little bit divergent here on the 1 minute, but that's not a big deal. I wouldn't start looking for reversals. This was definitely a really, really nice candle right here as it kind of just broke the new low a day. So you would have took that candle as your, your igniting, your momentum candle. It would have been in something like this. Would have stopped something like this, maybe 40 pips. You're right now almost at 2R. 2R is about here, about-ish. CJ, hey, what's going on, brother? Jorge says, once you've done with your analysis for each pair, you trade one pair, or could be more than one, multiple to meet your criteria. I try to hone in, George. I try to hone in on one of my 5 pairs, and then maybe potentially I can get multiple entries on it. I don't like to get on multiple pairs, because if I win one and then I lose one, because like maybe I read one well and maybe I didn't read one so well, and the one I read well I win, and then the other one I lose, then I'm like beating myself up. So I try to stay to one really clear and obvious pair that I feel the most confident on, and I try and stay with that. That's how I do it. And then if it's really good, I try to layer entries in like I did, I think it last Thursday, and I wound up closing it early as I was scaling in because I messed up my stop loss. I like to try and do that. I like to try and scale into a really good trade, and this looks like it was a really good one, but I was sleeping, and sometimes it'd be like that. Made 1.1% on GJ as I got stopped at break even. You moved your stop to break even. Did you get tapped in here on this pin? Retesting the breakout. Hint, hint, hint. Retesting the breakout. Is that what happened? Or were you somewhere else? Let me know. Oh, way earlier. Okay. Because you're not in America, right? You're across the pond. I'm trying to remember where everybody's from. 8 a.m. UK time. Okay. So that's 3 o'clock my time. So here. So push down a little bit, and then you move your stop. Something like that. Catch this candle, or somewhere in this area. Exactly. Yeah. It's a good little pattern, a good little, like, when you see that momentum. Um, and then you kind of got to a certain spot. You're trading. I mean, I guess it's smart because you would have lost the whole thing. This definitely would have tapped you out if your stop was above structure here. So, did you look this 1.5 R to BE? Not bad. I mean, hey man, that's your trading plan. You see that it kept you from taking a big L if you tried to hold in. So that's good. Did you look for a win is a win? 100%, man. That's good. Um, did you try and look for a re-entry potentially? Yeah, man. Win is a win. 100%. I mean, that's a good move because it was still in this range right here. See, it hadn't broke this low. That's why I say I want to see it break the low, retest into it, and then give me this. This is the one that I want then. Like, yeah, potentially get it here, but you know that the target's only potentially down to the low because it hasn't broken this low yet. So it could like kind of chop around there, and it did. It did exactly that. Kind of just threw some little kind of pins. Not really, just kind of hit here. Found buyers, and the buyers pumped it up, but the sellers were strong. Could have got back in, but hey, man, family time. Not wrong with that. Family is always important, man. GU on the hour. looking like GJ. Kind of these EMAs and um, not EMAs, but this TDI kind of like in a free fall, as I call it, free fall momentum, breaking through. So that's fine. Let's see if we can get a retest. You're breaking out. Now let's see about, because you get it, break, retest, cleaner on GJ, and now driving down. And it might just fall off. You know, it might give you one of these like kind of 15, 30-minute things, but who knows? Who knows? If it pulls back, but see, we're almost at ADR. That's what you always have to check. This thing's almost gassed. ADR's right here at about 25. GJ at ADR. I know EU's not because it's chopping. I know EA's not because it's chopping. And I know AU's not because it's chopping. So our pound pairs have exhausted what they typically do in a given day. So they're probably going to be out of play for me. The only thing that I could potentially try to do is if it comes and makes a really big correction, then I could potentially try and take it back down to low a day. I'm not against trying to do that, but right now these might be out of play, so to keep myself focused, I'll put greens on them because the green line on my chart is ADR, so when I put green, I know that they're kind of tapped out. So we'll see what happens. I also like GJ, but there's divergence. RSI not making new low, so it's still divergence. That's the way I look at it. Oh, that's why you took pound Swiss. Nice. Yeah, these got up and went last night, man. They just kind of cracked out. So CJ, really great read, man. That's you're on the ball. You had it nailed. And let's see what Michael's saying. Michael's saying GBPCHF. Yeah, that one's almost at its ADR. Ooh, excuse me. Looks good. Here's kind of a little breakout, retest, kind of breaks the low, consolidates for a little bit, drives, and then comes all the way back up. If you had moved your stop to like a break even, you know, you would have been bopped. If you kept your stop above structure, you'd still be in the trade for more continuation, which is why I don't like moving my stop. Sometimes it'll save you, sometimes it won't. But if this truly is, you know, a good structure and it is, you know, it shouldn't break above that structure if it's a good trend. If it's not a good trend and it's choppy, then you're going to see what happened kind of in GJ, because GJ, you know, as we said, wasn't clearly, you know, this wasn't really, it was still within, you know, I like to see it clear. I like when it clears it. That makes a little bit more sense to me. So we're down to 3 pairs today, and they're kind of choppy. So maybe I don't find anything today, but we don't know. I do not know. Dollar index still looking like it's trying to get up, but as you can see, kind of having trouble at these highs here for the moment. Not divergent. It could still move higher. Definitely, I would stay a bullish on a dollar index and bearish on these, but let's see. Let's look at the 5-minute. Let's play a little. Let's play a game. I don't even really see anything. Like I don't see. I mean, comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down. If anything, it's like a square. I was gonna draw like maybe like a channel, but I see it more like square. Oops. Somebody blow me up. Let's see who that is. I see it more like square, kind of like that. I either look for the channels or I look for square. That's kind of like how I try to see it. I know it's super early. monetary policy news. You guys finding anything else on other pairs that I don't necessarily watch? Like anything on your guys' watch list that you've were feeling intrigued on? Potentially waiting for pullbacks. AU, EU, EJ. Okay. Well, we already looked at AU and EU. So why don't we take a look at EJ? See if we can't put together a case. So you got space on ADR. I can see right off the bat. A lot of space. So that's good. You always want to check that and don't ignore that. I see. Looks like you're in an ascending channel and you broke out of the channel. Right? That makes sense. Continually try and draw it the same. Comes down, clearly making structure. Makes a high. Makes a low. Get in this area. Potentially look for shorts because you see that you've been falling. So you're definitely in a downtrend. Comes up, makes a high, comes down, consolidates, makes a lower high, comes down, consolidates, look to get short, makes another ascending corrective channel here. Hold on, let me turn this down a pinch. I'm going to get this music situated for next week, trust me. Ascending channel, breakdown, ascending channel, breakdown, bigger ascending channel, breaks out, gives you 15 minutes of hold, pushes lower, maybe you take it here with a stop above, falls down. Now you're sideways. And trying to get low. Let's look at the higher time frame. Potential as a target in a selling sentiment with everything in a lower portion of a TDI. I'm not taking phone calls, especially not at 9 in the morning. Yeah, you can see like it broke structure low here where it was having trouble. Broke structure low, came back into the structure, engulfed out. So maybe if you take it on the hour, you're taking this candle here as it breaks out. Nice 4-hour candle. Cleared the whole consolidation here. So you're definitely looking like you're trying to see it come lower. There's a little bit of divergence down here. Just a little bit. We can't deny that, you know, from where it is currently. But this isn't set yet because you don't have a structure confirming, you know what I mean? If it starts confirming it, because it could just fall, price could keep falling through and then it's not divergent, then it's making lower. If you had it like stalling, then maybe that's where divergence is kicking in. But for now, it's a little divergence, but it's still potentially trying to come lower. But you are at the lows here, where you've had some rejection before. Waiting for everything to open up. Yeah, another 10 minutes. Like trading off the 15-minute 50. Yeah, I do. I like what I really like, man, for real, for real. I love trading off the hour 50 and catching like a 5-minute or a 1-minute entry. That's how I really like to trade. Now I've gotten away from trying to like hold my trades longer, but I think if as I was, you know, I'm always analyzing my trading, and I think that as I am getting better at reading the market. I think that when I see something like this, like let me give you a better example, because I'm all about like clear trend, right? So when I see something like this guy back here last week, which I should have been paying attention to, I don't know how I missed this, but anyway, you're in an uptrend, right? You break above structure, and then when I'm seeing this consolidation down here, I should be looking on the lower time frames. So you draw this right here, right? And then I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see this? This is why I don't like the TDI. TDI is telling you that it has a selling potential because it's like kind of dipping below, but you can see on a higher time frame and just by structure here, just by the structure, what's it doing? Fuck the TDI. That's why I want to get away from all these things. I like using them, but they can be a liability and hold you back. So, you want to look at it like this, and that from the higher time frame, you're clearly in an uptrend and you're looking to come up and make higher highs. So when you're in this area, you should be looking for reasonable entries to get long. And, if you can get like a tight entry, then you could potentially catch this entire action, because when you're looking at this, you're clearly looking to get back to these highs. And if you hold the trade as it breaks out and breaks the high, then it's potentially going to come back and retest these highs of support before more continuation, because you're in an uptrend. You want to stay with the trend literally until it stops you out. That's my new opinion. I'm trading it till it stops me out, and then I know it's probably over. Something like that. So I like getting these moves off like the 50 on the 1 hour and trying to get like a really low time frame entry, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute even. 1 minute's like the X factor that I like. You get like a 10 pip stop, and then the thing shoots up like 300 pips, and you get 30 R. And you scale in along the way and you pull out along the way, and then you can you get like a 3, 4, 5, 6% worth of like capital onto the trade. And then oh, I got like 10R on this one, I got like 5R on this one, I got 20R on this one that I held like 1% of my trading capital on. And then from here to here in literally 2 days, you just made like 25%, 30%, 40%. Like that's how you really get it going. EU, yeah, still in this range. You can see the 5-minute here. Trying to engulf, trying to break out of this consolidation. But you know where your target potentially is. First target is down here in this area at the lows in our structure. Because again, he's had trouble at this. For me, and then yeah, potentially you could see it reset potentially. I'm on the hour. Excuse me. We'll get a little bit lower if we want to. It's the same story, but I want to see. This is how I want to see it if I'm going to take it short, in my opinion. For me personally, and this is only me. Everybody could trade their own way. I want to see it do this, entry in here, and then do this to at least retest this low or drive lower. That's how, for me, only me, that's how I would want to see it, because I know this area has been rejected a lot. I want to see break it, retest it. And now maybe I missed a trade, but I don't want to get in it, have it move maybe 7 or 10 pips for me, and then come back. And now I'm in the trade, I'm stressing, I'm wondering if I'm wrong. And maybe it just breaks out and runs and I miss it, you know what I mean? And you take it and you make money, If that's your trading plan, dude, more power to you. Do it. You don't have to, you know, I only give what I would do. Never let what I do affect what you would do. I just give you my best analysis on how I see it. And this level here to me screams rejection at the moment. I want to see it cleared, retested as support, or excuse me, resistance in this case, and then more continuation. I want the market to move first, because like I said, if I get in here and it only moves 10, 15 pips, my stop is like 12 and I barely get the 1R, and then it rejects and I get stopped out, then I'm annoyed. That's just how I see it. Get it, Pockets. Keep me posted, man. Let me know how you make out. It's just what I've learned over the years of trading that seems to make the safest sense to me. Because it's like I was always trying to get in the trade because I felt like I was missing it. But once I realized breaks and retests, breaks and retests, breaks and retests, if I don't catch the breakout, if it's a clear trend, then I'm all over the breakout because it's a clear trend. But when it's like this, you know, and it's like it's chopping, I need the break and I'm in on the retest. That's how I do it then. So I'll definitely get in on the breakout. KMD 444 new here. Are you using RSI and MACD indicators? Well, first off, welcome. Thank you. Click the follow button so you always get aware of my when I go live. Definitely become a follower. I use the TDI, but I don't use MACD. I use this Liquid 50 market sentiment. I use the RSI and a trend line. And that's how I use this TDI. GJ, still falling down. Yeah, not MACD. Oh, 100%, man. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Ask any questions. Happy to help. Yeah, pound. As CJ was pointing out, that the monetary policy news seems to be driving this pair down. So, fortunately, I was not awake to take this really nice break for a new low a day. That was at 8 o'clock, and I was just waking up, and I usually don't trade that early anyway. But if you were awake, we know that it makes the low, breaks the low, comes back in and retests. Obviously, this is rejection by the sellers, driving price back down, and then a clear igniting candle that could be the catalyst for more momentum. You want to get in at the entry, at this as your entry. You want to get above the structure here, because if it is indeed going to fall, it's not going to come back, and it doesn't. Consolidates here for a little bit, kind of retests this entry with this little pin. Seller still in the market, and it drives lower. Money. Every time. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. GU was not as clean. So then this goes back to George's question. If I'm taking multiple trades, like if I'm taking GJ short, what I get in GU. I don't like. I understand what this candle is. I don't like this, because see this low here. I know that potentially it could hit this and fizzle off of it, but come on, this breaks this. So I'd rather take GJ in that instance, clearing for a new low a day with that same type of candle, than this one, which is still within structure. So I would, in that instance, if I was awake and trading and that was my session, I would be taking the GJ trade instead of the GU trade. Now, they both worked, clearly, but structurally, I like the way GJ looked better, breaking that zone. A little bit of issues here, see? So for now, we're going to get a 30-minute candle. So let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Again, I use all the time frames. You're the detective in the case that is the market. You want to use every piece of resource at your disposal to get them telling you the same story. And the more that each time frame tells you the same story, the more confidence and probability you can form that you're, potentially correct on your bias, on your direction, and then on your entry and your stop. You're looking for the most confluence that you can. So use it all. Use the 4 hour. But again, 4 hours long, so take it with a grain of salt. Use the 5 minute. Again, it's fast. Take it with a grain of salt. But when you start to put them all together and they're all saying the same things, that's how you can see the 4 hour and get a 5 minute entry with a tight stop loss, but using like a swing trade mentality for really massive, massive results and returns. Or you can do like I do and take a 5 minute trade that might be a scalp, hit 2R, and make 4% on the day, and you're happy as a pig in shit. It's however you want to trade it. The idea is just to get as many confirmation biases as possible to tell you that the case that you're trying to put together is accurate. As we draw this line, see, break and retest, but it's still choppy at this low. Hits this low, hits this low. Now you're starting to pull off it on AUD, just like on DXY at the top. We're starting to have a little bit for the moment, not forever, but you're getting failure. It's failing to make new highs. Pins. This candle here did not close higher than here. So if you were buying in here, not you're kind of stuck. Reaching, pulling off. Still looks probable to come higher, but for now maybe you're getting a correction. So maybe it corrects and finds some support. So let's look at EU. And yeah, see, like, it's just not clearing the zone yet. I just want to see it clear the zone. Breaks, yeah, you're square with it. This is just a sideways consolidation. Let's look at the lower time frames. Bless you, Beth. Bless you. Higher low for the moment. Makes a low. Comes down. Fails. Why would you fail? If you're in a downtrend, why would you fail here? Why would this not come through? Well, maybe it's not ready yet. Okay, fine. That's fair. Comes back into this area here. It's not breaking the high. This is kind of a lower high at the moment if it holds, or is this an igniting candle? Is this igniting? Didn't really clear the zone yet. I'd rather see it come up. If it's going to come higher in this instance, it would come up, and it would either come up, come back, consolidate, and throw another candle, or it would come up, go sideways, and then throw another candle. Now we are more, I guess, bearish, we're trying to say for now on this pair, if I'm not mistaken. But to me, it's 50-50. This is all just 50-50 to me. This isn't, I don't have clear direction on this. And again, if we're looking at the higher time frame, we're seeing it fail. Like you can see, if you looked at it like this, on this side of the chart, and I showed it to, a 5-year-old, and I said, which way is this going right now? They say up. It chopped, and now it's going up. Okay. So what's it doing here? It's chopping. I'm still long-term, long biased. Now, true, people might say, oh, well, this is a shoulder, and this is a head, and this is a shoulder, and I see head, shoulder, shoulder, or shoulder, head, shoulder, and now it's falling off, potentially. I'm still long biased because this to me is just correction. Until it breaks this whole structure to the downside, retests it as resistance, and then continues, then I believe it. Then I start to believe it. Until then, I'm still targeting the highs. I don't want to get away from the trend just because it's correcting. And the lower and lower and lower you get, the more it clouds your judgment. Now there's money short. Sure, there's money short. There's money everywhere in this market. But when it's 50-50 like this, like spitting, I want to stay with the trend. Fancy it to the 1 minute 800 then. Looking for shorts potentially. I don't know. It could full reset. Like I said, and it's 50-50 to me at the moment. Because it could just push right back down and come back and retest these lows. Because on the 1 minute, it looks like it's starting to break out. But I know what this area is down here based on the higher time frame. You know? Like I know that this area is getting a lot of rejection with all these pins. Like bodies down here. So you want price to come down. This is where if it's going to come lower, it has to break past this. It has to. It can't go lower without breaking past this. So you know this is a target. What happened when it got here? Either people took profits or buyers stepped in, which is almost synonymous, and rejected. You got rejection down here, and it pulled up off of it. That's trying to come back low, but it barely got a wick to the structure and rejected. Tried again, and it's another wick. Doesn't mean anything. It could find more sellers and just fall off. But for now, I have cause for concern on a sell. So that's why I want to see it break this low, retest the low, and then continue lower. And that might take till next week because this is my last trading day for the week. I don't trade tomorrow. So it might take till Monday, Tuesday. Who knows? It could be today. It could just shoot off. I could get off the charts and say, hey, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. I'm out of here. And then the thing just goes, you know. If you are biased to the low and you feel like you can get a good R, then, you know, and that's within your trading plan, then definitely make sure that you use good risk management. Don't swing for the fences. And, you know, you take your best shot. That's all you can do. This is interesting. A little bit, you know. It's not divergent because this is low and this is higher, but this is also higher. So it's not divergent. Same. Again, this would be, you know, the target. Short term. Has to be. If you're short bias, that has to be your target. But it could just be pushing off this because this is technically a higher low than this. And these two were divergent. Are they not? This is like about equal to or lower, slightly lower technically. This is slightly lower, but again, it's a range. It's never one number. It's a range. So these, I call these even, but here on the TDI is way higher here, and that's why you get the rejection. Comes up, retests, igniting, and moves off it. Comes back and dips even lower into the zone. If your stop is down here, you're probably stopped out if you didn't take profits already. And that happens because trading isn't always 100%, but you know that this is probably an igniting candle or this one. But it does make its way almost to a full reset. Becomes a little bit divergent at the top. And now it's just giving you issues. High or low. Come up, retest. If it breaks structure, retest structure to potentially come higher if this is indeed a higher low. Because then it'll make a higher high somewhere around here, you know, give or take. Come back, retest this, and then drive more. Or it just falls and stays with this kind of short-term downtrend. Pockets is waiting on ECAD long. Let's see. That might be. Now, see, that's the other thing. If you're like Euro, see, look, it's starting to get a lot of momentum now. What did I tell you guys? Here it is. It happened on the 1 minute. Break, retest, consolidate, igniting candle potentially. Is this potentially? I don't know. Is this potentially the move up? Breakout, retest, igniting. Let's take a look at ECAD, and we'll see what happens with EU in a few minutes. I'm not going to take it long because it's 50-50 to me. It could just as easily come short. Let's see if there's a little bit better look with the CAD pair versus a dollar pair. It looks the same to me. They look the same. It's just 50-50 in my opinion. But you can see where it looks like it kind of failed to make the low. This is divergent. Right here. Why am I doing this? Take me forever. I need like a stylus. Let's do it like this. This is divergent right here. So it's pulling off. Now maybe it comes back and retests and drops lower. Maybe it holds and finds more buyers to come higher. I don't know that I necessarily like this pair the way it looks currently. It's just a little bit too choppy for me. Let's get a better, bigger look. Makes a low, makes a high, makes a higher low, and now potentially, it looks like this to me, a channel. Is it a corrective channel for more continuation to the downside, or is it like a channel that moves up and breaks up to the high side, like Pockets is saying he wants to see it come long? I don't know that. To me, it looks a little bit 50-50. But you're in a channel right now on the hour. 4 hour. This has just been a really choppy pair lately. And there's money in chop, but it's just not as clean. EU finding a little bit of GJ2. Look at that. Comes all the way back up. And this is what I was saying, a correction. Maybe you see a correction on like a 5-minute or something. I don't, and these pairs are ADR. That's why I'm not going to play with those pairs. But you can see it's starting to correct. Let's look at the dollar index. Failing at the high. That's why you're seeing EU rise. But this could just come back into this consolidation, find buyers, and move higher. That's why it's just too 50-50 for me. I really don't know. Let's mark it just for fun. This is just for hypotheticals. I didn't take this position, but if we see a break, we see this corrective channel, breaks the channel, you would trade it like this, potentially. Potentially. We'll leave that. We'll see if this is correct or if this winds up getting stopped out. Because again, it's 50-50. I don't know. But if it's failing and it comes up and corrects and now it's giving me more potential, it hasn't cleared these highs yet. So it could just as easily hold here and fall. So I don't know that the buy is right either. That's why I can't call it. I don't know. Because it could just do this, you know. It could just find sellers in here. And then this kind of short-term bias or short-term move is happening. Because it hasn't cleared this area yet. So if it's going to come higher, it has to clear this. Potentially clear it, come up, you know, come above it, retest it, and then move off it. Or what it's going to do right here is find resistance and then shove back down and try and break these lows. It's too 50-50 for me, man. It's just too 50-50. We'll watch it though. It doesn't feel like anything's going to happen for me today again, unfortunately. But sometimes that's just how it is. Because you're still in a selling sentiment here on the 5-minute. So like I said, yeah, you're definitely just coming to maybe retest this area for more downside momentum. It's just too indecisive for me to call. I don't know. I really don't, honestly. We'll see though. Market always moves first, and we should always move second. We're just trying to follow it, never trying to lead it. because we have no power to move a market. Yeah, just a choppy day. I'm probably going to find myself not trading today, but I still wanted to get on, you know, get in here for you guys and see what happens. Exactly. You don't want to forecast um, because you don't know what the market's going to do. You really don't. All you can do is try and take like a high probability like guesstimate. And that's why I said use that 4 hour, use that daily, use the 1 hour, use the 15 minute, 30 minute. Click around and be like, this looks clearly like it's going up. This oh wow, look at the daily. This is clearly going up, like okay, oh, this looks really good here on the 15 minute. Looks like it's kind of retesting this zone and now breaking out. That's how I want to get long. This is definitely going up. That's how you build it, you know. Build that build that you know, that confidence, that confirmation, confluences. Always, always, always react. You'll be so much safer. Trust me, if forecasting worked, I wouldn't I wouldn't have lost my ass over all these years, you know what I mean? I just try to give you my advice from how I failed at the market and how I start to succeed at the market. It's just a choppy little bitch. Now let's see if it finds support in this area and continues up, or if it's indeed coming back down to try and drive these lows. CJ says ideally EU towards 1.124. 1.124. Oh, so 1.1. Like here, maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Maybe ideally down to 1.2000. You know, we just try and draw it the same way every time. And we try and react the same way every time. It's just 50-50. It's 250-50 right now. This trade can go either way. That's how I would never take this. It just we draw it for fun, just for the education of it to see what would happen. But this feels like you're just gonna get bopped. So let's get rid of that because that's pretty much a loss. Like you can see it's like barely. Let's see how it holds though. I mean, we'll leave it pinning back down. And this is all hypothetical. These aren't real entries. But like I said, if it's breaking up, consolidating, and then but we don't have clear bias, so we can't even say long because we don't have clear bias. If anything, looks like it's trying to come back for the lows because again, it's still in this kind of. I don't know. I don't even want to say that. This doesn't say selling. This says selling, but this like they're not agreeing. There's no agreement. Pockets with the AN. Listen to me. That has got to be on your watch list, bro. You seem to have a good read on that pair. Now, is this a lower high here on the 1 minute? Low, higher low, higher low, question mark? Don't know. See if it holds or if this is like the igniter to kind of like take it back down to try and retest these lows. Like, I guess if I was to make an opinion, I can't even make an opinion. You would, I don't know. I guess maybe try and test these lows, but again, until it breaks, it's 50-50. This trying to be like, this is a weak 5-minute, like comes up and pushes back down. This is weak. I don't like this. I wouldn't enter short on this. Now maybe it falls, but for my money, I'm not short on that. You know, that's not, I want to see it engulf. That's not engulfing in my opinion. Now people might say, oh, well, it's like a 3-candle engulfing. You can read the market a million ways. I wouldn't read it like that personally. That's why the lower time frames are tough. Now maybe this breaks out, but again, my target is really only here. I can't claim, or I can't take a trade saying it's going to break these lows until it breaks the lows, you know, because that's just, and maybe it does. Like, oh, it's going to break these lows, and maybe it does, but I can't trade like that. Good. Yeah, it should be on your watch list, man. You and AN seem to be in tune. You're always calling out good reads on them. Yeah, not bad. Oh, gee, I keep punching the mic. Keep me posted, Pockets. Let me know how you make out. Now, we did say on the 4-hour on EU that potentially this was like a catalyst candle because it kind of consolidated. Now it clears the consolidation. But again, we have this zone drawn for a reason. We feel, at least I, maybe not we, I can't speak for you guys, but at least I feel confident that this is a significant zone. So if it's going to come lower, just break the zone and come back and retest it. And I'll get an entry at ideally the same spot, but with a safer, you know, with a safer entry, because I know, okay, yeah, it did break it. It broke down to here. It's up here, so let me take it in up here and come back to retest where it made the low, if not lower. It's kind of how I feel at it. I think that's the safest way. I can't say that it's going to break this low because it tried to. It tried to. Here, it started here. It tried to here, and it didn't. So what makes me believe that in this choppy market that this is going to actually break this? It might, because I don't know everything. But to me, I don't know. And maybe I'm being overly cautious. Maybe I'm, you know, being a little bit too conservative. But it's just how it is there. DXY, like we said, was failing to break the high, but we said that might not be the end of it. Might just come back and find support. Definitely seems like it's doing that. And as DXY moves higher, EU, AU, all those are going to move lower. There. Getting some good momentum to the downside. Still early. Still early. Ah, that's all good. Don't chase anything. It's still early. It's barely even 10 o'clock. 8 o'clock your time. Still early, man. But look at our level though that we had drawn. It was either going to come above it and move higher, but it didn't. It came back down lower, and that's what we said. Maybe this is the igniting candle. because it couldn't break the high. So now you said we're coming down here. I don't like when I'm indecisive. I don't like when I'm talking both ways. When I talk both ways, I don't trade. It came right back to the low, broke it a little bit, but it's only a 1 minute, and I don't put too much emphasis on a 1 minute. I'll give this thing 4.5 minutes and see how it closes. 5 minute looks like you're kind of driving through potentially for more momentum, just like we draw it on the chart, you know, with price. No, let me draw it a different way. I think I would draw it like this. Just like a simple trend line. Break, potentially retest, and then continuation. I think maybe that makes sense. This isn't a bad candle, but I don't love it to the downside yet though. I haven't confirmed that yet because I'm still at these lows. Now maybe it just pushes down, consolidates, and then pushes lower. But until we really break this area, I just don't feel comfortable putting a short in. Driving. See? This is like kind of what I'm saying. It didn't come with structure, but it broke this zone, comes back to the zone. So if I had put like a sell limit in this area, if I traded like that, because it broke the zone, retested the zone, and now it's like kind of coming off of it to retest this area because it clearly broke this low. Retested it, found sellers, people taking profits. Market comes up, sellers push it back down. 1 minute divergence on EU. Let's see. I do see that. I see. This is the thing that's tricky about divergence, because I see what you're saying, but until this really starts to reject, it could still come lower potentially. And you see that there's good momentum on this 5 minute, strong through this liquid 50. That's pretty strong. The only thing, if you take away indicators and just purely look from a price action standpoint, because that's the only thing that's true, this still hasn't broke the low. It still hasn't broke this low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches where it hasn't broke through it. And this candle still has a minute or so to go. So it might come lower, but it hasn't cleared it yet. And until it clears it, I don't feel comfortable getting in it. And I could be wrong and maybe I miss out on money, but I just, I'm trying to play it consistent. As long as I'm consistent, that's all I can do. Here comes EA trying to shove out. To retest these highs. Kind of broke out here, came up, retested this zone here as support, potential igniting candle here on the 5 minute to come up to here and try and retest this first high. Maybe it's like a breakout. I don't know yet. It's still just like EU. I need it to clear. I don't want to take it to that point Because what if it doesn't get to that point and just falls off? It's not worth the money to me. How's everybody doing at the 10 o'clock hour? How we doing? Let's see what we look like. Definitely looks like it's falling. I'm not going to deny that on the hour. It definitely looks like it's falling. But again, you're at a pretty interesting level. So I don't know. Let's check the 30-minute. You're right at this 30-minute 800, which again, I look through that. I don't consider that like the barrier. Like, oh, it hit the 800. Dumb, whatever. It's just EMA. You know what I mean? Look at price action. What's price action doing? GJ just fell. Good trade. I love this pair. This is my my numero uno, man. I really like GJ. But unfortunately, it likes to move in London. Today just happened to be 8 o'clock. I was not awake. But that screams perfect to me. Just because the way that it makes a low, makes a lower low, comes back into the consolidation area here, finds, sellers, and then this clears. That to me is just like clear and obvious, That's clear and obvious to me. Something like that. And I'd probably be in a little lower, so I'd probably just be getting, I'd probably just be hitting. Now again, it's, MetaTrader 4 in this, it's, where you get in. So this is a rough thing, but I'd probably just be hitting my 2-to-1 right there. But clearly, this was, falling off. So don't deny what it's doing. It's falling. And once it broke the zone and retested the zone, then I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is good. And then this one here kind of cleared the level, but I liked the downtrend because it was showing me that it was in a downtrend. Even though this low was here, it was showing me bearish momentum. With EU, I don't know that I see that. I see kind of sideways, right? Like, would you say this is like there's some up, there's some down, there's some up, there's some down. It's not like GJ where it was like a clear trend. Yeah, it's a little too tough to call. But like I said, you can see here, it's up, it's sideways, and a little bit down. Then it's back up, then it's down, but up, then down, but up, then down, but up, then down. So it's like maybe it's like chopping its way lower, but it's not this. This is a high, a low, consolidate, a low, 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 like, breaking and retesting structure. Like, to me, this is more down. That's why I'd be more confident that even though we're kind of near a low at this entry candle, not to be contradictory between EU and GJ about lows, but I like that this has clear momentum. That's why this feels safe for me to take, and something like this doesn't, because this is just chop. And maybe it falls, but it's not as clear to me. I hope that makes sense. You can already see it starting to form. Is it a corrective channel to then drive out, or is it up? Market moves first, then you move, but I'm making 0 moves on EU. And like I said, this week I'm up like 1.6% on the week, you know, so I had my one winner, my small winner. Um, so it's not ideal, but again, if this market's kind of ranging right now, then we know what happens after range. Breakout, breakout, money, money, money. So just be patient and wait for it. It sucks, and I feel it because trust me, I'm trying to make as much money as I can. I'm out here every day. But if I'm being too aggressive and trying to force and beat on the market, I'll jab the market and be like, yeah, give me money. And this thing will hit me with the hardest uppercut you ever seen in your life. So I don't fight the market. I try and befriend the market, man. I fought the market too long and that thing beat the shit out of me. So now I just try and be friendly with it. Like, hey, where are you going? Can I tag along? It's just safer. Because if I force, I'm gonna lose. But if I'm cool, calm, collective, consistent, then I win. And I'll get where I want to go faster. And sometimes that means that I don't trade. I trade 1 time a week. I trade 2 times a week. Sometimes that's what it means. And it feels slow. But if I'm consistently winning, am I not moving faster? Then win, loss, loss, win, win, loss, 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 loss. Because I'm just all over. I know, man. It's all good. You'll learn. You'll learn from it, man. Trust me. Sometimes sometimes losing is the best teacher, and it sucks and it hurts. And like I've told you guys, man, I've cried over this market over the years, just feeling helpless and useless and feeling like there was no shot in the world that I was ever going to figure this out. But from all of those losses, it's taught me what's a bad trade to enter. So my losses have made me better. And while it's cost me money over the years, it's now to my advantage and it's in my tool belt to help me win. And that is powerful. Sometimes you have to lose in order to understand how to win. See? Look at this. This is bullshit. Strong, push right back down. It's just not clear yet. It's too rangy. This was the clearest one. And it just, there was no entries for me, unfortunately. I was in the hospital at like 1, 2 o'clock, and yeah, I wouldn't even been able to trade anything. I was working here. I was in a hospital here. I'd have been, and plus I don't trade. I don't like trading that anymore. I'm trying to just trade these 2.5 hours that I do in New York. So just one of them weeks, man. Like I said, I'm happy to have done well on that EA position and to have pulled that profit because I could have easily lost that trade and now I'm down for the week. And like I said, $200 for the week. I'm not paying my bills with that. I'm not living off of that. But it's not $200 that I lost. I'd much rather if someone said, "Hey, this week is shit. You would rather lose 200 or make 200?" I say, "I'll take 200. Give it, ship it." So you got to pick and choose. It's not always home runs. Sometimes there's just base hits. But I'm telling you, the consolidation that we're seeing gets me excited because I know breakout's coming. And when this breakout comes, you might see me not take 2% or 2R. You might see me hold something. I've been thinking about it. If I'm going to catch a breakout and I can catch a clear trend and see it and read it, I might try and make a move on it for something big and see if I can't, rip off like 10%, 12%, something like that. So we'll see in time. If it is, it is. I never force it. I just try and roll with it like water, like Bruce Lee. So dollar index cleared for a new high, at least from yesterday's high, but not for the week. This is Friday's high. So it's right at like Friday's high. But there is momentum to the upside. So you could potentially anticipate more momentum to the upside on this and potentially more momentum to the downside on EU. But that's not set in stone yet. And see, I like when we do stuff like this, where like I draw it as it's happening, and then you start to see how it just kind of, respects it. Like I think I drew it when it was like here, just had a couple. But once you start to see it, it starts to make sense. It's either a square or it's like a channel. Be like LP, man? What's LP? Fill me in. With the summer coming though, market usually tends to heat up, no pun intended, in the summer. So maybe we could see some nice rips. And plus, with these uncertain times, definitely volatile. I'll have to check that out. I'll check that link out. So here we are on pound dollar. Looks like you're kind of struggling to make a new low at the moment. You're definitely divergent. If you want to take like a long-term look at it like that, you're definitely divergent. But not even that. Like, yes, this is helpful, but just structurally, you make a low, you come down to the low, and now you're failing at the moment. So you're kind of getting like a little correction. Like we said, if the dollar index is going to continue its upward momentum, then GU and EU should come lower. But you are getting a little bit of failure here. And this thing's already blown its ADR, so it's not in play, but just taking a look at it. This could be some slowing, that's all. EU. EU breaking higher. It's going to break this zone. At some point, it's either going to break it now or it's going to come back down, but looks like it's breaking up. Potentially. So here's your low. Comes up. Kind of, I mean, because it's a 1 minute, so you can be a little tighter with it. Maybe this is like a higher low. Engulfs. Comes up. Goes. Now this isn't the one I take. I don't take this one because this doesn't mean that it's definitely going up. It could still consolidate here and then come back down. You want to see it break up, come down, consolidate, and then potential to the upside. But again, EU is 50-50, and I'm not calling a direction on this. I don't want to try and take it to the 800 because it could just come here. I don't want to take it to the bottom because it hasn't cleared the zone. It's on its own today. But as you see, these channels work though. Martial artist. Oh, okay. Dig it. I'll definitely look into that. I'm into the martial arts, man. I've been watching so much UFC, and I mean that's not. I mean it's like mixed martial arts, but dude, I was watching so much UFC. I've been watching one dude that I really like a lot, Gaethje. Dude's awesome. I've been watching a lot of his fights. Dude's an animal. But true martial arts like what's it? I'm gonna butcher it. Jungkook and like all that stuff, like the real like true martial arts. That's just fascinating, man. The mindset that goes into it, like it's cool. I dig it. Jukund, I don't know. I'm gonna butcher it. I can't remember it. But just like true martial arts, you know, it's more of a way of life than fighting. It's cool. So here you are on EU, kind of broke down, pulled back 3/4 of the candle into this area, maybe finding some resistance to come lower potentially. Now you're kind of like a locked divergence at the moment. Potentially divergent. Potentially. Could still come lower and break through this, and then it would just look like consolidation, but oh, IP man movies. I thought it said LP. Oh, it did say LP, and now it says IP. I don't know, man. I'm gonna check it out. Hold on. Let me see. How do I do this? Oh, I wait. Hold on 1 second. I'm messing with this. Being like my own moderator. Cool. No, I don't think I have. I've seen um, Michael J. White. Michael J. White. What's his um the dude who was in Bone and he was in Dark Knight. That dude's badass. But I don't know about. Let's look at AUD NCD for you. Yeah, you see the rejection down here at the low. Failed to break the low. Came down to it, but body not even close to it. Looks like it's peeling off. Could just be correction though. But again, if you peel out, the trend has been short. That came up. It's just, I think you guys see it already. What I'm gonna do. Yeah, something like this. Just bigger. 1 minute, 5 minute, hour. Just draw the same structure. Looks like it's in a chop. Now maybe you could see the long to come back up here potentially and test the top because it's like bottom, top, bottom, top. Maybe. Maybe it falls out. I don't know. You're definitely seeing rejection down at this area. Just don't overcommit to anything. If you feel confident and you want to take the position, you got to do you, but it's still a little sloppy to me. It's not completely clear. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, Michael J. White. Did you ever, Pocket, you ever see that movie Bone? Just him beating the shit out of people for like an hour and a half. Breaking up on EU. Kind of up, a little consolidation. Still kind of like indecisive. Still hasn't really broken out. Let's see what this is. Everything's getting to be a little bit divergent now. It's just an indecisive market. Let's take a peek around the big watch list just for the fun of it. I'll blow this up too so you guys can see it. Peel it back, and let's just run through them. CD, looking at EJ. Let's take a peek. It's definitely divergent. Your target is the low. You can see. Broke the structure. Consolidation. It is divergent down here a little bit. You might see this thing reverse. I don't want to say that. I don't want to call that, but I don't like the way that looks. Could come lower. Corrective channel. Like I said, you know, you're definitely coming down to see the lows. You're divergent. This is something like this. So this is falling, but why is this not falling? That tells me that there's a imbalance. Just be mindful. Definitely, you know, you could see that the the bias seems to be to the downside, so I think short is the right direction. It's just how low does it go? Yeah, like I said, you're definitely in the right direction. It's just how far does it go? Maybe it just gasses up and goes. Because the yen, I think the yen was weak. Somebody was telling me just sell a yen, something like that. But I don't go. That doesn't make sense to me. I just read structure. That's all I can do. Like I said, I hope that here comes Euro breaking out. Woo! See, broke out strong. It feels like news. Maybe not. Could just be the market, but I never want. I hope that I never make you guys feel like when I'm giving analysis that you can't take what you want to take. That's never my intention, because I've been in groups like that where you have your own ideas and then someone's talking you out of it. You know, I just speak for myself, and like I said, you guys are kind of just tuning into what I'm doing. So please don't ever take what I say as the gospel, and that, like, if I'm telling you, like, oh, maybe, it's not going to go or this or that, don't ever feel like that. I just talk out loud, and I don't know everything. Like I said, I kind of do this to help me trade, and hopefully it helps you guys, but don't ever let me stop you from trading the way that you trade. I don't ever want that to be the case. That would make me like upset if that happened. Because we did say that we felt the dollar index was showing potential to the upside. And if it was still showing potential to the upside, that EU would find potential to the downside. And you can see it's driving right back down into this area. This is a pretty nice new low a day on this 5-minute. You got 3 minutes left in the candle though. It seems like you're still kind of holding on to this divergence on the 1 minute. And that's the funny thing about divergence, in it, at least in this downtrend, so it can still go lower and still create divergence. So that's why I try to trade structure more than divergence. But when divergence and structure match, that's when I think the indicator helps. I try to just read price action though. And this candle hasn't closed yet. You still have 3 minutes. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pockets. Now see here on AU, you're making a low, come back. Now this potentially right now could be a higher low. Slightly divergent. Failing to break this low down here. Putting a pin to it. Still looks like you're in a downtrend. But again, it kind of looks like the channel. And that's all I ever see is like channels, It's like this kind of. My channels are never always. Well, if I was drawing it, let me draw it correctly because this one didn't have been here. I would have drawn it like this. This is how I would have drew it. I would have drew it something like that. And now it doesn't quite fit, but these are like false breakouts. Like it's not, because if this is good, it's gonna come up and then shove again, but it didn't. It came back into it. And again, if it's actually gonna fall, it's gonna break, and then here it's gonna break again and doesn't. It comes back into it. So that's why it does break the trend line that I have drawn, or that channel, but that's because if it's true, you don't take the first push all the time, because you want to take the retest, break, retest, and then take the continuation. I'm glad that helps, Pockets. Michael, no trades today, man. Nothing doing for me. We missed out on GJ because we're weren't awake for it, and we're a little bit indecisive on the direction of EU. And GJ and GU have kind of blown their ADR, but they had no entries for us anyway. Nothing clean, at least. Nothing that I would want to put any risk on. And same with EA. So for my pairs, nothing's really doing today. But like I said, I'm content with that because I know what's coming in the next couple trading sessions. Breakout and clear trend. And on clear trends, we're gonna get paid. Thank you, Michael. I hope you had a good day too, man. How you making out? Definitely hit me up and let me know. So we got a 10:30 close. And you can see it still didn't quite get lower. Now this is, bearish engulfing and looks good for the fall. So maybe it does fall from here, but it still hasn't really bodied this yet. And potentially you could say, oh, well, that's because the momentum really wasn't to the downside at this point, and now it seems more probable that this direction is correct, and that's why maybe you will see more continuation to the downside. I don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, it again, I want to see it break out of this zone, come and retest this zone, find itself some resistance, and then show me a continuation pattern. And I take the continuation pattern because I know that the level is secure and good, and we're going to the downside. It's confirmed. That's how I'd rather take it. It might have. Small win. Hey, Mike, it sounds like you're on the right track, man. You hit me up the other day and said you're kind of on a losing streak, and now you're telling me it sounds like you hit a couple small winners in a row. So you're starting to link it together in the right direction, man. That's all you can ask for. I don't see your message. So yeah, it might not have came through, but you can always find me on here, man. But that's good. Small. You want a small loss, a small win, or you want a big win. You don't want big loss. So if it's small win, that's a win. It's good. That's how you want to see it. Just a little too choppy for me here on this. Oh, I've definitely taken a nap today, man. I didn't want to miss this stream. I didn't want to miss this session, so I think I got like I don't know, maybe like 5 hours of sleep. I still feel sharp. I still feel good. But I didn't. I wanted to keep going with the stream, so I think after this, I'm probably gonna take a nap. Dollar index looks like he's trying to push higher. I'm definitely bummed because I wanted to trade and trying to make some money today, but again, I just don't see anything that I really feel confident on. And I think that I just have to continue to stick to the process of it, and I think that's all I can do. Because if I start switching things up, then I'm going to mess everything up. How did to the way you were looking at to the upside? No, it's like it coming down a little bit. Yeah, it's just kind of up down up down up down. Look at it rejecting it. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's just like came down. Now it's just like rejecting right off of it. See if it fills it. See if it fills that 5 minute wick. Still got 10 minutes in that candle. Oh, excuse me. Look at EA, man, just all over the place. It's like, oh, I'm going up. Wait, no, I'm going down. Like, just beating people up. Partial profits got me bumped on GBPCHF, but yeah, trust the process. It's all process, man. Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And if you have a good process and you have a good trading strategy and you follow it to a T, and that's the most important. Don't sway from it. Don't fudge it. Don't do any of that. You follow it methodically, and if it's a proven profitable, trading strategy, then over the months and years, you're going to come out ahead. And it's that easy. But once we start getting into our heads, once we start messing with our trading plan, once we start not doing the way we take profits, when we start messing with our risk management, when we get away from the system we have in place and we become the, you know, interrupters of the system, that's when everything gets wrong. That's how we lose. But when you just stay to this system, hey, this isn't my entry, I can't take it. Hey, this isn't the way I trade, I shouldn't do this. Hey, this is where I take partials, I need to take my partials. No, no, no. Oh, I think it can go more. No, no, no. This is where I take partials. This is where I put my stop at break even. You just have to do it every time consistently. And over the long haul, it will work out to your favor. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do as traders. And that's how easy, that's how easy trading really can be. It's just a very simple, keep it simple process. Don't allow your mind and your emotions and anything external to affect your strategy that is just, you know, process oriented. It has no bias, you know, wait and react, things like that, Gotta just stay with it. And one day, 1 week, 1 month, one losing month, doesn't matter. You can lose 2 months. You can lose 3 months and still have a profitable year. As long as you're controlling risk and sticking to your plan, take the wins, take the losses, and you hope that your plan calls for you to get more wins than losses, and then you come out ahead. Like I said, most people only have a strike rate of anywhere between like 40 and 60%. Some people have a 30% win rate and are still profitable if that's what their trading plan calls for, because maybe they're getting, their winners are 7R and they lose a shit ton. Now, for me, I don't want to lose 70% of the time because I think that would mess with me emotionally. I would feel like, I'm terrible at trading, but some people trade like that. For my trading plan, if I can win, you know, 40 to 50%, then I can be profitable. Like, all right, cool. So you're telling me I could be wrong half the time and still be a winner? Sounds pretty easy. So you're going to follow the other strategy or make your own. Everything that I'm showing you here, Pockets, man, this is what I do. It's a little bit of the old. Um, I've done some Falcon stuff. I've done the other stuff. Um, I've done some other YouTube videos that I watch. I just watch how other people trade structure, and I just take a little bit from everybody. I'm kind of like I'm like a sponge. I absorb every bit of knowledge that I can, and what works for me I use, and what doesn't I discard, and I just try to read the market consistently. Like that's just what I try to do. I just try and see it the same way based on all the different um, educational philosophies that I've gone through and have looked at. I think that every strategy has its strengths, and I think that every strategy has its weaknesses. And my hope is that I'm just pulling all the strengths. And I really think that break and retest on structure has been the easiest and the most consistent for me. And looking for those engulfing candles, bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing, things like that. That seems to be the easiest. And that's really, since I've been streaming, this is like my 8th day now streaming. Um, that's all I've been taking. And I think I had one loser last week and one winner and one winner this week. So I haven't traded a lot. I think I've only traded like 3 positions. Um, and I fudged that winner last week. That should have been a really good one. So since the stream, I think I'm slightly profitable on the stream. I think I'm up like maybe 2% in the last 2 weeks. It's not great because I'm trying for like 8% a week, but the market isn't really, it's not giving me my opportunities. So when it does, I'm hoping I have 16% weeks, 12% weeks. Maybe I hit 3 winners and I go, 4%, 4%, 4%, and then, one week could make up the 2 weeks that were slow. And that's right back to what we just said just a minute ago, like process, process, process. If this week is slow, I'm not going to try and fish in an empty watering hole. I'm just going to wait and then try and crank it out when it's there. And I do know that there was a lot of opportunities for me last week. There was a winner I could have hit on Monday. So I am being a little bit timid, and I do recognize that in myself. So I'm trying to be a little, not, I don't want to say aggressive, that's the wrong word. I want to be more confident and trust my analysis because I do feel like I'm seeing the market very well. Um, so I want to not be as timid. Um, so I'm going to try and, you know, apply that more into my trading. But, this week was just it wasn't really there for me. Yeah, pretty much. You draw, Michael, I draw the horizontal levels like you can kind of see here. Just this is kind of like just a line, but then sometimes, I draw a square because it's not always, you can see how it bounces within it, out of it, back in it, out of it, breaks it, retests it, breaks it, retests it, breaks it. Now this another square level engulfing pattern, kind of momentum candle. Like I think you were asking me the other day about momentum candles. Momentum is like this right here, kind of breaking the lows, breaking out, staying with what we're seeing, which seems to be clearly like a downtrend. This is a lot more clear. It was a little shaky in here, but clearly it was falling. You want to stay with that, Just try and like it says on my stream, just keep it as simple as possible. Try and eliminate all the extra nonsense that can kind of make your trading convoluted and confusing. Like the market is very simple. It really, really is. And the more that we in impart ourselves into it and oh, my job isn't here right now. I need to make money, and now I'm imparting that lack into the market, and then that affects it. But if you just simply look at the chart and ask a 7-year-old what it looks like, hey, this looks like it's going up, hey, it looks like it's going down. If you stay with that bias, you're likely going to find money as long as you wait for a good signal. And I think that everybody understands what a good signal should look like. And I'm just trying to, reaffirm it when I talk to you guys. Breaks and retests, breaks and retests. That seems to have been and be what I'm finding is the most simple and the most proven profitable. It constantly works. It keeps the emotion out of feeling like you're missing a trade because you know you're going to be able to get it on a retest if it really is going in your direction. So it keeps that emotion out of it. Um, you know, just really trying to keep it simple. But I think that's going to be it for me. I'll probably cut this stream about 15 minutes short. Um, Not trading anything. Finding support a little bit for the moment here. And like I said, I'd rather see a break and retest. And I don't really like to trade past 11 o'clock anyway, just for me. So probably going to call it. Uh, that's it for the week. Thursday is my Friday. So if you are trading the rest of the day, I wish you the best of success, and I hope that you take it simple and slow and make sure you don't give anything back if you trade tomorrow. I hope that this maybe breaks out and Friday, creates a breakout day. But if not, just stick to your pattern, stick to your rules. Don't give anything back on a Friday. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Enjoy it. Make sure you take some time off the charts and rest up and definitely do a little bit of work on what you did right this week and where you went wrong and retool. And as always, man, Telegram, Instagram, reach out. I'm here. My knowledge is free. I give it out freely. I'm happy to help you guys. Um, and that's it. Enjoy yourselves. I'll catch you on a flip. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it more than you know. And I will see you guys on Monday. Adios. Have a good one, guys. Peace.